Testing 1, 2. All right. Should be on here. Me and Rev are here. It's working correctly. Let's wait for my operations manager over here to tell me if we're actually streaming. Yeah. Velvet Butter is in the house. What's up, Velvet Butter? All right. If you guys don't know, that's Hannah. All right. We call him Velvet Butter today. Thank you, Velvet Butter. Oh, sorry. That's my old handle. All right. Rev's here. As you can see, he's been making his noises to say that he's here. Rev wants to be on camera. There he is. Rev, say hi. Hi. All right. Good boy. Rev is, oh, come on up. Come on up. Come say hi. Come on up. Come on. Come on up here. All right, he's just being lazy. All right. Anyways, today we are talking about, all right, that's enough. We're good. You can just lie down. Now I'm made of him, turn him into a monster. Here we go. All right. Well, thanks for coming to Kickass Garage. I'm Rob, and today we're going to talk about some Hondas. My favorite OG. I'm a Honda guy, if you guys don't know that already. I do work on Mini Coopers and a bunch of stuff like that, but my true love is Honda. So I could probably blame that on just Honda being awesome and my college professor, John Blake. He really beat a little Honda into me and made me realize that it's the best car on the planet. So today we are going to talk about Hondas. So my first Honda was what was it? It was a Honda Accord. I had a 1998 Honda Accord. It was, oh gosh, I don't have any like actual I have video of them. I'm gonna have to make a video of that and let y'all see that monster. I loved it. It was my favorite, one of my favorite cars. But it was quite crazy. If you knew me back then and you knew it, it was quite Fast and Furious, straight out of the movie. It looked like an R34 Skyline. Yeah, had TVs, gauges everywhere, more buttons and things you could know what to do with. I love stereo systems. That actually is probably what got me into cars. Was I loved music, so once I loved cars, so I guess once I put them all together, I was actually going to go into the Hi-Fi Buys stereo building, like, what the heck was it? It's like some program that Hi-Fi Buys had that you could go and you could learn how to build all the crazy enclosures and all that. But I ended up going into doing it in college. I was like, well, let's go to college and learn cars, and blah, blah, blah. That's how that kind of worked. Kind of worked like that. I don't know. I still love stereo stuff. I haven't messed with it in a while. Probably due to, I don't need to lose all my hearing from that. But anyways, off project. Let's get back on to Hondas. So yeah, so my first one was a 1998 Honda Accord. And I love that car. It was great. Then second one after that, this is good. You guys get me thinking of what cars I had. Of course, I asked myself that question. So anyways, so Honda Accord 98. Then after that, I got I want to say, was it what did I get after Honda? Did I get the Evo after the Honda? No, I had a Honda Civic. So I had a Honda Civic that had a motor swap. So I had a 94 Civic 4-door that had a GSR engine in it that I absolutely stomped so many people's ass in that car. And it was so funny because it looked like a stock Civic. I didn't put anything fancy on it for a while. And I rolled around with the stock Civic just beating all these guys in Mustangs. It was absolutely quite quite amazing. I love that car. But I wrecked that one on the way home from work one day. I think it was a narcoleptic episode in the car. Probably my only one that I actually wrecked. But yeah, I ran into a person in front of me or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Check your chat.
Of the Cybertruck, it's an absolute piece of junk. I mean, you can go on to you can just go on to like Whistling Diesel's page and look at his tests on it. I mean, that alone just and in person, it doesn't nothing fits together right. It just seems cheap. I mean, it's great. It's got the cool thing. It's fast, but as far as like practicality, it doesn't really make that much sense. I mean, it's cool attempt at a an adult child making a car, but as in functionality and thing, not great. Yeah, it. I mean, just those panels, you can pull them off. They're like taped on. Like, yeah, there's a couple cars that in my history that I've messed with that I thought were really great at the time, and then I took them apart in my career. So Ferrari is one of them. As a kid, I had Ferrari F40 posters. I had every Matchbox car Ferrari F40. I wanted a Ferrari F40. That's what it was. And that car is badass. That particular one is an amazing car. But I got to work on a bunch of cars very early in my career. I would do aftermarket installation. So when I was in college, I hooked up with this company that was called On Guard, and they did installations like OnStar. So if you've seen OnStar, this is when OnStar first came into the picture. It wasn't very big. It was in a couple cars, and you had to pay for it to add it onto a car. This was OnStar or On Guard, which was an aftermarket version of that. So I actually got to go out to Texas. I got trained on the whole thing and went to the response place where you're in this room and it's like whatchamacallit, clocks everywhere in different countries because it was like all over the world. And it was really neat. It looked like something out of a movie, like all these different little modules that people were like talking to like people in their car and stuff and tracking them with GPS. And it was really neat. I could turn cars on and off, and I had to put all these things. Anyways, Ferraris, I had to take a couple apart, like taking them apart. And they were held together with sheet metal screws from like Home Depot. It was a bunch of like freaking aluminum pieces that were just bent on like a brake. Like literally in a shop, someone bent a bunch of aluminum pieces on a brake and glued leather to it and folded it over to make like the A-pillars and this was a Ferrari. One was a Spider that I'd worked on, and then the other one was a 458. One of those things it was a front engine one. So the engine was the big V8 in the front. Anyways, yeah, just taking that apart. And then the wiring, you could hot wire that with a first grade education. Like you could stick your head under that dashboard, pull the wires out, and figure out which ones you had to put together. Like it wasn't very much technology in hiding their stuff. But yeah, those, and then just being underneath them and looking at the engineering. Dodge Viper too. That's another car that's got a lot of everybody loves, but it's didn't blow me away. Like all the suspension, everything is just stamped. Rev, he doesn't like the Dodge Viper either. I know. No one likes that one. I do like. They're not. I don't like them at all. That's my honest opinion. I hate the Dodge Viper. Sorry, Kevin. My buddy Kevin had one. He loved that car. I thought it was just the stupidest. I don't know. They're horrible to drive. There's no visibility in them. We won't go into that right now. I know you don't like the Dodge Viper. It's okay. Yeah, we'll go on. It makes Reb upset if we talk about that. But yeah, there's a bunch of cars out there that are very surprising that the craftsmanship is not there. It's not like a Honda. You know, even Honda back in the day, in the beginning, because I know people know about the history of Honda, but back in the day, the first car that Mr. Honda made, because he made a bunch of motorcycles, the first car he made, I believe, was the S600, and it was a badass car. It was like high revving, like I think it revved to like 9,000, just like the S2000 or 8,000. It had a little tiny, pretty much motorcycle engineered engine in it that scooted along. And that's kind of like what they based their whole business on, was just, well, not, I take that back. When he first started the business, he based it on hauling ass and winning and having fun. But when he got into the cars, he still wanted to have the cars, you know, be fun, reliable, and kind of went into that. And I think they kind of veered off into the Civics and Accords after. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that right now. He's rambling. Stop him. So anyways. But anyways, back to Honda stuff. So I get into some rants. I'm going to slow myself down. But yeah, anybody got any Honda questions out there? So after having that Honda Civic with this motor swap, so what did I have? A 98 Accord, Honda Civic motor swap. Then I had a 91. I got this car for free. I remember this. When I was working at Honda, my manager comes back, John Kubo, I think it was at the time. He's like, hey man, he's like, you want this Civic? And I was like, yes. And it was a Northern Civic that was rusty, but you couldn't really tell. You could see the rust on the back corner of like the back of the wheel. But that thing was one of my favorite cars. The lady didn't want to fix the alternator. I think that's what it was. It came in, the alternator was bad, and at the time, an alternator on a CRX, or not CRX, a Civic, was ridiculous. And the lady was done with the car. She had it brand new. She had it from the very beginning. I remember this. And she lived up north, and it just got rusty. It was pretty rusty. Like holes in the back fender, rusty. I could hear water in the rain when I'm driving down the road. I could hear the water, you know, like there's different when you hear water outside the car when it's in the car. I did sell that car twice, or no. Yeah, sold it twice. Bought it back from Daniel, which at one point he was my brother-in-law. That was my first marriage, but Daniel bought it back from me, and he wrecked it, and I was mad at him, so I bought it back from him because I was pissed, and I tried to fix it. I fixed it up and kept driving it. That's how. Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, Daniel's. Well, yeah, he's a mechanic. I'm not sure if he's currently working right now. Yeah, I think he's working right now. But yeah, he's yeah, those guys got in. Him and Sam, good boys there. Got them. Sam, if you were listening out there. I'm proud of Sam. Sam, man, he's like the top of his shit right now. He's running some. He's a good kid. Anyways, I'm not talking about Sam right now. We're talking about cars. Anyways, back to my Civic. It was teal. It was freaking teal. It was awesome. So it was teal and rusty. So what's the best thing you do to a teal and rusty car? Well, I painted it camouflage. Yep, it was camouflage. And so I had a friend of mine, Mark, which was the parts manager at the time, country boy, good old boy. And so he saw the camouflage Civic. He's like, hey man, I got a brush guard. I'll bring it to you. And I was like, hell yeah. So I was like, he brings me in this like big brush guard. And I was like, oh, sweet. And I took the two sides off of it that hold like, that are in front of like the headlights. So it looked like a police push bar. So I mounted it. I remember this day. I pulled it in. I was so excited at work. I pulled the bumper off and I put like big bolts to the bumper and I put this thing mounted on the front and I put two KC lights on it too. So I had two KC lights on it, big front push bumper, and then I put a loud ass horn on it. So I had this super loud like not train horn loud, but in between a train horn and normal horn. It was pretty loud. So it was awesome. I got more. I had an
That's real cool.
Yeah. Well, on top of, I don't know if anybody out there has a 91 Civic hatchback. That is one of the best driving cars. Bone stock, enjoyable. Something about Hondas. So Honda's key is they don't make big horsepower. They make high revving, fun to drive cars. Like, ask anybody that has a Civic, a Fit, Del Sol, any of those cars, Integra, any of those cars are just bone stock, are a blast to drive. You do have to drive them to the teeth, balls to the wall, but that's when they're fun. But those cars are amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, what did I talk about? Random. Whoop. What happened there? Big flash. But yeah, so that car was absolutely... Rev wanted to say hi. Hi, Rev. So, sorry. Got off track. Anyways, that Civic, best driving car. Low center of gravity. That's why everybody autocrosses them and races them. They are phenomenal autocross cars. And you see them all over autocross. That was the car that dominated autocross. CRXs and the little Civics. Absolutely great. Now that you put the motor swaps in it, it's just, you're giving that fun car power. And that's why, that's why everybody puts those Honda. Oh, that's kind of a nice type, huh? And so moving on. So Civic, I had a 4-door LS, GSR motor swap. Then we went to the 90 Civic. And what did I get after that? I got a 2007 brand new 4-door Civic Si. Red's playing with the squeaky toy. Rev, no squeaky toy when we're on thing, buddy. You can go in the other room and play with it. Look at that look. Move the camera. Look at that look. So he's bringing it over here. Okay. We'll see what happens. Anyways, 2007 Civic Si. I bought it brand new. It was the only car I ever brought brand new. And at the time, I brought it for my wife, and she never really drove it. So it ended up being, I really bought it for myself. I mean, to be honest with myself, I bought it for myself, and she kind of drove it and couldn't drive it. I ended up selling it to a family friend. The car lived on, and they ended up wrecking it, which I wish it didn't die like that, but it did. And that car is gone. It's gone forever. But it was rally red. I put the Honda factory. So Honda has a let me see if I can find it. Forget I have the internet right here. I can show you all the pictures. I forget. They have some sick wheels that came on, or they had for the factory performance. So Honda has factory performance parts. I think they made suspension at one point, muffler. So I had the muffler, Honda factory performance muffler. I had the 18-inch wheels. That were sick. I probably won't be able to find them. But anyways, that was a pretty sweet car. And I drove that car because I worked for Honda at the time. It was brand new. I drove that thing to Redline every second I was in that car. I tried to blow it up. I wanted to blow it up just so I could rebuild it with performance parts and get paid by Honda. That's exactly what I did. I drove that thing, I mean, every time I was in the car, I was a Redline. I was... And most people don't know this. If you do know this, in those cars, the SIs that have the digital dash, if you ride that thing out first gear, it'll go all the way to red. It'll flash the all the red one time before it hits rev limiter. So it's almost got like a shift light built into the car. So as you go and you redline it, it'll give you a second where it gives you like a flash, like a shift light, and you shift at that time, and you can stay just ripping that thing down the road. And I drove it. How many miles did I have when I sold it? I think I had like, I don't know, but I drove it hard, man, and like drove it hard, and that thing did not miss a lick. I never blew it up. I drove the nuts off of it, and they still were dangling there, and I sold it. Yeah, it was a long bad, but yeah, that car was great. What else did I get? What else Hondas do I have? I had a bunch of Hondas. I had a bunch that I'd bought and sold over the years to flip. Other ones do I have? I have one in the backyard. I have a 94 coupe now that I'm going to put hopefully a Type R motor in it. Not the B series Type R motor, the 2020 Type R motor, the new turbo one. So stay tuned. That will be a channel or a video one day on the channel here. So I'm trying to see if there's any Honda things out there that... So it's crazy. I do get on a lot of these Honda forums, but most of them aren't that crazy of questions because Hondas don't really break much. I said the Mini Cooper, it's like just days of trying to diagnose people's cars. See if we got any Honda stuff that off track. Do need to get you some pictures of my old Honda, but what was it? Honda S2000. See here. All right, what we got here? Oop, that'd be awesome. Let's see what I'm looking at here. There's some nice wheels you got there, buddy. I never owned one of this model, so that's my net. The one I want to get is the blue SI. The blue SI and the would be the only one I would consider. And those have gone tremendously up in price, like ridiculous. All right, not much. Let's actually go on to forum. Selling some mirrors, ECU problems. No, nope. Oh, that's interesting. I did have I take that back. I had a 95 CX hatchback that I was building for a drag car. It had traction bars. It was like before motor swaps were that much for that thing. They had just made motor mounts to swap the case series into that older model, and the only case series at the time was the EP3 out of the I think that's what it was. Not EP3. Is that what it's called? It was the motor out of the egg. So it was like the first generation of the K series that wasn't the best flowing head, you know, because the RSX Type S1 got a little better after that. But yeah, another $4,500 engine right there for S2000. That's the going price, about $5,000. And that one's in rough shape. That guy's gonna be lucky if he gets $5,000 for that, or $4,500. Yeah, see, it's mostly people showing off their things. Any problem? Rev. Alright, here we go. I need some help. Alright, I just need some help. Let's replace the turn signal. Headlight. Rev! Out of here, dude. If you're going to make noise, leave the room, please. Jeez. Alright. I just replaced the turn signal headlight switch on my S2000. After replacing all the fuses related to the turn signal, I can't seem to figure out why turn signals aren't working. Any idea what could have... Yeah, you could have done all kinds of things. The hazards work just fine. And the signals on the dash work. Well, yeah, they're gonna work. Flasher relay. Yep, that guy's right onto it. Like somebody's already answered it. Yeah. So, yay, that's it. That wasn't too crazy. Let's see here. Moving on. More wheels. I just call this NSX or S2000 wheel selling. Like they sell a lot of parts here. Oh, look at that. Who wants some S2000 cookies? That's awesome. I want S2000. I think I sent this to my John Blake, my teacher from college. He has a 3D printer. And I was like, oh, we need to make some 3D S2000 cookie things. That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, S2000. What do it taste like? It tastes like tires and oil. Let's see. Selling. There's an S2000 problem page because this one's not. Go back down. Searching here. Let's find another page that's worth going on to. Anyways. Well, I was going to talk about some of my qualifications that people may not know that I have for working on cars. So let's go back here. We could jump onto the NSX forum too. So I did have an NSX. I had a 1991 NSX. It had the O2 body on it, so it had the non-flip-up headlights, and had the new and the O2 back. So the O2 back tail lights are different than the 91, and bumper, all that stuff's different. So someone had swapped all that onto this one, and I found it on Craigslist at the time, and I had just sold my Evo 8, which was one of my favorite cars too. So that was Mitsubishi. We'll come back to that one later. That was a badass car. I sold that to get the NSX because I was like gonna get a Z06 or I was gonna get an NSX. And I'm not really a Corvette guy, so I was like, and NSXs at the time were not something you could find. It was a very rare car to find for sale, if not even near you. And one popped up down the road from where I was at, which was amazing. End up going over there, buying it from the guy for $24,000, which was today's word is a steal. $24,000. He gave me the entire. It came with a body kit. It came with. The guy had brand new brake rotors and pads in a box. He had the JDM steering wheel, and if you don't know what that is, it's instead of having the Acura emblem on it from like if you had it in the States, it says Acura all over it. It actually had an H on the steering wheel, like it came from Japan. And then of course I put H's all over it because I didn't put any Acura crap on it. So it was badass. That was a sick ass car. But yeah, I got that for that. Had it for about 4 years. Loved it. Drove it. The car almost killed me about 2 times. Seriously, almost killed me. I almost died from that car. And it wasn't the car. Well, no, the car. Well, both of them were mine, but I just put them to the car because I had that. When you almost die in a car, it's burned into your brain. And I'm going to say the first was not my problem. The second was my I did that. Oh no, my second. So the first time I'm on my way to work. The time I worked up there in Cartersville in Georgia, up north. So I would have to drive up I-75 at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So luckily, that early in the morning, there's not many people on the highway. And there's not really many cops. So I was rolling out, and I had just bought the NSX. It's probably like my, I don't know, week or two. I probably had it a week or two. I don't even think I had a tag on the back. I think I had a temporary tag. But I'm rolling out, just cruising to work. And I started smelling this burning rubber smell. And I'm like, I'm the only one on the road. And I'm like, what the hell is that smell? And so I'm like, oh, all right. So right when I smell the rubber, I look up in my mirror, no one's around. So I start to go over to pull off the road, see what's going on. I lightly touch my brake, and the car completely slides sideways at like, I don't know, I think I was doing about 80 or 90. I started slowing down, so I was probably doing about 70. It just kicks sideways, and I've never had this happen in a car before by just touching the brake. So I touch the brake, the thing flies sideways, I go back and, whoa, give y'all, that's maybe y'all feel it too. Anyways, fishtail all the road, get control of the car, and I get back off to the side of the road, and I'm like, whew, like not even seconds go by, and an 18-wheeler comes flying by, because it's kind of like a long turn on 75. So, yeah, it was quite terrifying. Was it 575? No, it was 75. Yeah, it was 75. But yeah, so I got off the side of the road, and the guy that I had bought it from had like, I don't know, there's like 3 degrees of camber in the back. On top of it being super towed in, like he had a little too much toe. And it just ate the inside of the tire. But these tires had such a low profile, it was dead flat, and you couldn't tell that it was flat. The tire was such a stiff sidewall. So, and there's no tire sensors on this to tell you it's flat unless you touch the tire. So I'm very fanatic about touching tires and looking at tires before I get in cars now because of this one problem. So the tire's flat, and so I put a new tire on it. And as I'm doing this, I put a new tire on it when I get it back to the shop. And it was raining that day. I was putting a tire on it. And I remember this because I came back into the shop and I parked, got out of the car, and I'm like, oh, fixed. And I hear this psst, like bubbling sound. And I'm looking at it, and I had these, and it came with these crazy wheels on the car. They were like super expensive. They were called iForged wheels. I think just one part of the barrel, I remember spending $500 just for the back barrel that had to get added onto the wheel at one point when the wheel broke. Or at this time when there was a crack inside the wheel, which I'd never seen before. So in the very middle of the wheel, there's this tiny crack, and it's leaking air, which luckily I caught it because the wheel could catch water. Most wheels, the water runs off. This wheel, for some stupid reason, had a concave in the middle where it would hold water. And yeah, it was leaking. So I had to send that wheel off and get that fixed. But that was a huge debacle. Then I went and put the NSX on the alignment rack. This is kind of a crazy story too. You learn why there's so much toe on an NSX. So I'm used to front wheel drive cars up to this point. Oh boy, that's a Mini Cooper customer. Sorry, Van, I'll have to call you back later. So I put it on the alignment rack, and at the time, I was younger when I was working at Honda, and it had so much toe, and I'm like, oh, that's it. So I kind of put the toe out of it, which is bad. You don't want to take zero toe. I was racing front-wheel drive Civics before this, so I had zero toe on those in the rear, so I could get the rear to rotate when I was racing them. And so I kind of decided to put that on the NSX. Well, it's rear-wheel drive, and when you give it gas, the wheels bow out like this. So when you give it torque, the wheels kind of push out like this. And when you're on the highway, it makes the car dart around, terrify, like will scare the nuts off you. So the first time I went to test drive it, I get up to like 60 miles per hour, and I'd give it gas, and the car would shoot to one side, like violently, like shoot, like almost like you were like, what the hell just happened? So yeah, I went back and figured out that you have to run a good bit of toe on those rear-wheel drive cars. But yeah, that's one of those things you figure out. Sorry, I got customers blowing me up right now. I'm not worried. I'm working online right now.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the chat, customer.
You just,
Yeah, he just like puts it on
if
like,
you have
oh damn, he was watching.
if you have questions, you could put
Yeah,
it
could
on.
you please go on to YouTube if you have a customer of mine, you need a thing, just go ahead and. I'm not doing quotes right now, but. Anyways. So, where were we? We were talking about NSX almost killing me. Yeah, so that almost killed me. That was. Let's jump on the NSX thing. Help those guys out a lot. So. Let's do NSX. NSX Prime. Been on there for a long time. That's where I tried to sell my NSX back in the day. You probably look it up and find it. Oh, cool factoid. The NSX that I owned actually was not here, is he? The NSX that I owned was in a Castrol motor oil commercial. Because I'd look up my VIN number, and the VIN number coassigned with this car that was in a Castrol oil. For some reason, it was like, I want to say it was like something with Senna in it or something like that back in the day. And it was going around the track, and you see the Castrol thing. I remember the commercial because I was so cool. I was like, oh, my car was in a commercial, blah, 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 blah. If I can find that commercial someday, I'll put it up on my Facebook. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, that was kind of a cool thing, having one of the only NSXs in a Castrol commercial. All right, let's check out some NSX stuff. Rev, that's enough. What do we got here? Anyone know what happened with Downforce USA? Nope. Look at that. NSX alternator going for $400. That's crazy. Yeah, so the parts for these cars have gotten obnoxious. I had my car for 4 years, drove it, put a bunch of parts that were impossible to find on it, and ended up selling it. I had it for sale for over a year, ended up selling it to a friend of mine. Or actually, the guy ended up becoming a good friend of mine. He wasn't actually, I knew him at the time, but we weren't friends. Then we became friends with John Lamont. Bought it from me. From pretty much what I bought it for. I bought it for like $24,000. He bought it right around that price. And he like, I mean, I dropped it off at his house and like, or at his shop. And like the day that I came back to get the money from him or whatever, or check, because I left it at his thing, he already had the windshield pulled out, putting a new windshield in it, like getting it pulled over to his paint guy, having the guy paint the whole car. I think the guy after him had the leather redone. The leather was beautiful in there because it was like somebody had redone it and it had like red stitching on black leather. Gorgeous inside. But if you are looking to get one of those cars and you're going from like an S2000 or something like that, you need to practice on laying down when you drive, because I'm 5'8", and if I sit up in the NSX, my head hits the ceiling, like literally like crinkled like this. So it's literally a car you have to lay down in to learn how to drive. It's like driving an F1 car, but on the street. But let's see here. Any questions? Look at that thing. Oh yeah. Let's see here. I removed engine, tons of sensors, everything's connected. As far as I can tell, trying to start. This is what it does. All right, let's listen to this thing here. I am blown up this morning. Let me see it. Listen to that again here. Definitely is not getting fuel.
Make sure this.
Oh. Where do I do that? Can y'all hear it? Can you not hear it?
You just gotta uncheck. You want to share the audio?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now that you guys can hear it.
Yep.
I'm gonna jump into. You check your main relay. That's a Honda joke. All right. I'm at to work today. Little Toyota, and you did. Sorry. People are gonna have to pause for a second here. Rev, go away. Oh, it's everybody leaving me voicemails. Okay. One thing you find about the older customers is nobody texts. Always voicemails or. See here. Check engine lights on, VSA lights on. Yeah, I need to go do all these things. People are blowing me up. Well, thanks everybody for stopping. Look at all this. Oh my god. Anyways, thank you everybody for stopping by. The questions. Chad, thanks for your Cybertruck. Chad, do you have a Cybertruck, Chad? Sorry if you have a Cybertruck, Chad. They're fun. They're fast. They look cool. Their value's dropping like a freaking stone, but other than that, yeah. I'd sell it if you have one. Sorry. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. I'm Rob from Kickass, and we'll stop this trip. And Reb was here. He's gone, but thanks for stopping by.